good? We're live?
Yep.
All right. Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for showing up to our live Q&A on Project Rapid Runner that we did there and delivered out to SEMA. For those of you just joining in, we are going to be doing Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free just to type them out and then Eric and I will chinwag about them and go from there. One thing to keep in mind is Blacktop Speed Shop has a episode that went live. Detroit Muscle. It's okay, Blacktop is out in the wild now.
Yes.
Detroit Muscle has a new episode out on their gasser, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that 56 Bel Air they've got.
That's right. It is up and live, so make sure you head over, check that out. And other than that, that's all the updates that we have, or do we got one more?
Well, aside from that, if you haven't checked out the Rapid Runner full build yet, make sure you do that. We've got a full hour plus on YouTube on getting that whole thing put together. I mean, it was a crazy month to get that thing done, but it was well worth it. I mean, SEMA was a great experience. I know that was your first time there. How was it?
It was intoxicating. it was a lot to take in. It really was. Everything from just the event itself to the Nissan media launch the Monday before, to the actual just seeing Rapid Runner in the Nissan booth was ridiculous, because I've been talking about just going to SEMA for about 20 years. And so not just being there for the first time, but also having a vehicle presented there with an organization like Nissan, it was lifetime moment after lifetime moment after lifetime moment all week long. By the end of the week, I was down on my feet.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I think we were averaging like 10 to 12 miles a day walking over there. But SEMA's always a good time, especially when you've got a project there. And having Rapid Runner in the booth, it wasn't just about seeing it in the booth, but it was seeing it over top of everything around the booth as well. Because with the kayaks on top, that thing stands about 10 feet tall. So it was, as soon as you walked into the convention hall, you were seeing just these kayaks poked up over top of everything else. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was good. It drew a good crowd, a lot of good conversations. There was one kid that came up to me. I think you were chatting with the Nissan reps, but he sat there and he's just like, how'd you get into the industry? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? Like, what's it like doing all this? What skill set should I hone on? And was able to have a good conversation with that kid there. Sorry if you're watching this, I can't remember your name. But it was really good. It was really good to see the younger generation out there. Wow, I feel old saying that. It's really good to see the young kids out there wanting to get involved and honing their craft.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, seeing builds like what we do, because we build a little bit old school here. We're no strangers to that. We're not shy about it. Our tastes are a little bit more old school than a lot of stuff. Yeah. But at SEMA this year, there was a ton of old school style builds, and I was absolutely loving it.
Did you see the Packard with the V12 in it?
I missed that one. I did see the DeLorean with the V12. Yeah. But we're starting to get off on a tangent here. SEMA is a rabbit hole that we could spend all day on, but we're actually here to talk about Rapid Runner, which was actually formerly Project Trailgater, in case you guys didn't catch that. So the concept before, if you haven't seen the full build or the previous build on it, we built pretty much just an off-road tailgating truck. That's right. Me. So this was actually done in Music City last season. We had a TV strapped on either side, a sound bar on the back, the same deck system. I mean, it was a ridiculous build, but Nissan wanted to go a little more extreme this year, and that's where all the fabrication work, getting those doors cut out, welded in, the full Titan swap. I mean, there isn't really a bit of that truck that hasn't been touched, especially by now.
Exactly. And when they kicked it off, it was very much they gave us a packet where it's just like, here's a few things where we would like to try and see you guys incorporate. They mentioned some form of tube doors. They had like a very colorful wrap on the vehicle, like in the packet, and then they had like 5 or 6 kayaks or canoes, whatever you want to call them, in the backs themselves. So they give us a left and right of arc, but for the most part, it was just run. Let's see what you guys can do, and it came out swimmingly.
Yeah, it turned into kind of a free-for-all on the creative side once we really started digging into it, because Nissan, they had their baseline for what they wanted, and then they said, hey, just whatever you guys feel like adding on, whatever you could do to make this thing more extreme, go for it. Yeah. So that's exactly what we did. What else? So it's also, Rapid Runner was the first of the 2025 Frontiers in the world to have 37s on it, and it wasn't the easiest to fit them under there, but no. I mean, that Titan suspension swap that we did really helped a lot. The rear axle, that was primarily just for strength and for track width, but the swap itself was relatively straightforward. I mean, if anybody's ever changed out a rear axle before and moved spring perches, they could make that swap themselves. Just
Exactly.
easy as can be.
And for this build here, doing that saved us a ton of time.
It did, and honestly, I would say at the end of the day, it's probably a money saver as well, because you know, you get into trying to upgrade mid-size truck parts to keep up with half-ton stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, using stock half-ton components as opposed to, you know, highly expensive aftermarket stuff, I'll take that road all day. And the Titan swap, especially everything in the front end, from the axle, the drive shaft bolted up from the Frontier to the Titan axle, the axle itself bolted right in, upper and lower control arms. I mean, as far as swapping components from a completely different vehicle onto something else, it doesn't really get any easier than that Titan swap.
Yeah, the only thing we had to PO for it was the upper control arms. They were from Bilstein. Right?
Yeah, so the upper control arms, that's the only thing you have to do differently. The stock ones don't provide the proper geometry, so you do have to go aftermarket on the upper control arms, but you can use the stock lowers and everything else just fine. Yeah. What else? There was the Titan tie rods have to go in. That's another one, inners and outers. But I mean, all in all, as far as, like I said, going for either aftermarket upgrades or just OEM level upgrades that are going in with the swap, you're saving a ton of time and money getting the OEM Titan stuff.
The other thing, like the drive shafts themselves, they bolted right in.
There was no modification to length or anything.
Yeah, the only real cutting and grinding for that had to be done was the wheel wells.
Yeah, and that was just to make room because the tires were just ridiculously large.
Exactly. So anybody at home who's thinking about doing something like this, I would highly recommend, from somebody who watched somebody do it while they were doing something else, I highly recommend doing it. For me, it was great. It was easy.
No, I mean, even from the mechanic side of the house, it really was not that bad. I mean, I've done suspension systems that were 10 times more of a pain in the you-know-what than this was. If I had to do it again, I would say Titan swap is 100% the way to go on a Frontier.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the modern ones. Because like the 2025 is what we used, but it goes back through every generation of Frontier and Titan has that crossover because they were built on pretty much the exact same frame.
Yeah, and I think the SUV as well. What was that?
The Armada.
Armada.
Not the Armada.
There's an SUV in their lineup
yes, there
that
is.
runs on the same frame.
I know the Xterra used to.
Yeah.
Which that would be a cool one to see come back one of these days.
I have no idea what it looks like.
Well, if anybody from Nissan's watching, just make a note of that. Everyone's looking for that Xterra to come back.
Yeah. Other than that, if there's any
questions?
Yeah, let's hit the questions.
We got a few questions ready to go.
Start with this one. Why isn't the car in the shop today?
So the reason the truck is not here today is we actually built it for Nissan. A lot of the time we own the projects that we work on, like Kaiser here behind us, this UTV. The company actually owns those. Nissan still owns Rapid Runner. That was done for them. So they're going to take it out. They're going to tour with it. I'm not 100% certain what their plans are, but I know they're keeping their hands on it for a while. That way they can, take it to shows, do some cars and coffee.
And it's not just staying local. Like, it's not just staying in the Vegas area or the Franklin area. Like last year, I overheard them saying that they took Trailgater all the way up to Detroit and the Toronto auto shows.
Yeah.
So if you're north of the border or close to it and you want to go see it, camera's over there. You're going to be... Sorry, the guy...
It's all right, folks. This happens all the time.
Anyway, if you're north of the border and you want to see it, make sure just keep an eye out for your local auto shows. Chances are you might see it at some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, and if you're around Franklin, I think they're based out here. I think that's where they plan on doing a lot of their local stuff. So if you're in the area, just make sure you keep an eye out.
Fun thing too is they actually use their SEMA builds for like a couple years as shop trucks. The one day they dropped off the winch for it, and they came over in the what was it, a 350Z or 3?
Yeah, the Rally Z.
Yeah, the Rally Z.
That was a SEMA build of theirs a few years ago. So if you haven't seen the Rally Z and you like Nissans, definitely look at that one. They had that, I think it was the first year I went to SEMA for this place. Man, that thing is awesome.
It is. It is. As somebody who's not a car guy per se, I was impressed. Like, there was a lot of things done to that where it was just like, it was very tastefully executed.
Yeah, and then of course they've got their V8 swapped Frontier as well that they run around in. I know
Yes.
Paul really likes that one.
Yeah, they brought that down here so we could take measurements off of it and everything else like that. And that was interesting. That has the Sabin carbon wide body kit on it.
Yep. And that one, it was the 5.6 from a Titan. I think they did the Titan swap on that one as well. That's another truck that was just absolutely ridiculous. It wasn't quite as extreme as Rapid Runner on the suspension side, but having that V8 under the hood definitely gives that one an edge.
Yeah.
What brand fender flares did you guys use?
So the fender flares were actually Husky brand. They're a bushwhacker style. So what I heard when I was buying them, the guy I went and talked to pick them up, he said that that style was actually acquired by Husky recently. So the pocket style flares are going to start coming out under that name. It was just off the shelf pocket style fender flares. You figure, as far as fender flares go, the pocket style is about as classic as it gets, and I don't think I've ever seen anything it looks bad on.
Yeah, and for that there, like when we went to go you went to go put them on, I remember we were chatting going back and forth, and because like the locating holes underneath, they weren't lining up from the amount that we had to cut away. You had to cut away and all that. I keep saying him because majority of the stuff, like all the doors, doing the doors took the same amount of time as it took for you to do the fenders, the lift. What else?
Fenders, lift, wheels, tires.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, the doors took a while, but they turned out great.
They did. Yeah.
As far as welding doors shut, you would have to look really close, and you would have to get underneath the wrap to try and find a seam anywhere on there. It smoothed out really well with that fiberglass on top.
Yeah.
And honestly, we might have even ended up shedding some weight there with the amount of all the components inside the doors plus the metal we took out.
Maybe.
And all the filler we put back on was fiberglass. So
Yeah.
I might have to call them and see if they'd weigh it for us. I'm just a little curious now.
Yeah.
So this one is, how does the roof rack brackets compare to previous Nismo products?
So the roof rack brackets that we used, they were similar to what was on there before, but if I'm not mistaken, they were attached through like a rail system that was there, and we wanted to get it a little bit lower. So what I did was I took the brackets, flipped them around, sliced a cut in the side so I can bend it over, and then all I did was I took some 3/8 riv nuts, took those, put them in, bolted it down, away we went. They work great.
Yeah, no, it's a lot sturdier than you're probably thinking. Hearing that, we didn't have any issues with it.
No.
I know we definitely ran into at least a few branches with it when we were out driving it.
Not only that, but like when we were at the payoff, that one spot where the road went through the river, like we hit that, and like the first time I hit it was just like driving Miss Daisy, taking my time, and then after that, it was just like harder, hit it harder, and it's like okay, fine. And there was a few times where it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know if these kayaks are gonna stay on there because we were hitting it and the truck is just like leaning over and. It's like,
I think the highest speed that I saw on the dash while you were driving through the river was like 42 miles an hour when we hit the water.
Yeah.
We were not exactly nice to this thing. We weren't easy on it.
Yeah.
It stood up to it though.
But the best thing was it was the Nissan folks who came out with us. We were like, can you hit it a little bit harder, please? Could you please hit that just a little bit faster? It's like, okay.
You ain't got to tell us twice to keep doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. Can you guys talk about the body lift? There's a little misconception on whether it was a body lift or a bracket lift.
It was a body lift.
Yeah, so that was a body lift. So the primary lift on Rapid Runner was from that Titan suspension swap, because doing that on its own gives you like 3 or 4 inches of lift over stock. Plus the extra track width is super helpful for big tires and getting that wider stance. But the body lift was just for tire clearance. So all that was is just a puck lift from Z1. It's just spaces out the body off of the frame, and that gave us the clearance we needed to actually be able to turn. Because I want to say we guessed it at about 5 degrees of steering angle before we did the body lift. That thing wasn't going anywhere but a straight line.
Yeah. The other thing that helped out as well is the wheel spacers.
Yeah,
the wheel
I forgot
spacers
about
pushing everything out a little bit further as well. That added it, because I think those put 3 inches.
So in addition to the, what is it? What did I say? 3 inches per side. Yeah. In addition to the 3 inches per side from the Titan swap, we also had to use some adapters to get that Titan bolt pattern back to the Frontier pattern for the Nismo wheels. Now, that normally I'm not one to run adapters or anything like that, but on this truck, it being 1.5 inches, that's not really a whole lot to be worried about, and it actually helped a lot with making room for the tires.
Yeah.
So that truck ended up being a total of 9 inches wider than stock. And that's just from wheel mounting to wheel mounting. That's not counting the tires themselves.
Correct. I know, putting it into our enclosed trailer, we had to, we sat there, so we had, we should stop moving around. So we sat, when we sat there and we went to go do the payoff for this, we had to actually tire down to the Trailgater tires, which were 30.
I think they were somewhere between a 31.5 and a 32. So we had to take 5 to 6 inches off the tires just to fit in the trailer, and we were still scrubbing the fender wells.
Yeah, like as you're going in on the enclosed trailer, you can just feel the truck just in between.
Did a little shimmy, you know?
Yeah. And then for height-wise, we were maxed out.
Oh God, we had like 1.5 inches of clearance on the top, and that was with all the kayaks and all the brackets off of it.
Yes.
The only way we would have gotten any more room was taking the roof rack all the way off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that paint or a wrap?
It is a
It
wrap.
is 100% a wrap. Now, I'll be the first person to tell you, I can spray paint. I'm not a painter, and neither is this guy. That's just not what we do usually, and especially going off-road. I mean, we don't want to pour a month, 2 months, 3 months into a really nice paint job for something we're going to go bash off of a tree, you know?
We also did just release a time-lapse video on our social media, so if you want to see it wrapped, there it is. What are the brand of the seat covers?
Oh, that's Covercraft.
Yeah.
All the way. Yeah.
And what?
No, they're Covercraft covers. You'll see those on a lot of our builds, especially work trucks and stuff like that. I know every single one of the shop trucks we've had here has had Covercraft covers in it. You really can't go wrong with them, especially if you're looking for something heavy duty, waterproof like we were for Rapid Runner. I mean, they've got options for just about everything.
Now, regarding the seat covers, when we sat there, we started the project, we told them, hey, this is what we want, this is what we need, they have to be in yellow. They actually went into their old stock fabric pile, had it shipped from somewhere on the East Coast down to, I think they said Texas somewhere, made them, and then had them shipped up to us, and they turned out amazing. Ran into them, were you with me when we ran into them at SEMA?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Anyway, we were chatting back and forth, and it was good chatting.
Yeah, no, they're great dudes. They make great stuff. And like Chris said, that was a fully custom set of seat covers they did just for this. Now, they've got a bunch of options for the 2025 Frontier, but that fabric in that color was done specifically for this build.
How big are the tires, and will they be available for the Frontier anytime soon, to your knowledge?
So those Yokohamas, those XMTs, we got them in 37, 12, 50, 17. They are out on the market, so if you're looking to get them, then go for it. They're everywhere in a whole bunch of different sizes. For the Frontier specifically, that's on y'all to make them fit. I mean, we can, with a Sawzall, just about anything is possible, but as far as fitting bigger tires, especially aggressive big tires on your rig, that really comes down to you, your build, and how far you're willing to go with cutting metal off of it.
Yeah.
What was the process to design the tubular doors?
Honestly, we sat there. First thing I did was, honestly, like you saw in the episodes that we released, I just took tape and just followed body lines and tried to imagine what it would look like with the tape on it, how it would look as an end product, as a North Star. After that, I pretty much let the vehicle dictate how it went. So if you're looking at the side of Rapid Runner, okay, let's say you're looking at the driver's side door. The front, it comes down and then it hooks back and then down like this. Well, this bulge here is the dash. It's in line with the dash, and that's on both sides. So that was one of the things that once I started cutting material away was like, I have to address this. If not, it's gonna look weird. So there was that there, and then I just copied it for the other side. The B pillars was honestly just dictated by the plastic on the inside, because I wanted to retain that along with the airbags. Found out later we had to retain the sensors. And then in the C pillar, I guess is what it would be called, or the back of the doors, same thing, just like how does it flow, one thing and the other, and then down at the bottom, it kicks out and then down. That is for the bump that is in the floor of the cab. Other than that, I just sat there and just hammer and dolly worked everything. Like all the corners have a radius to them, so it's smooth to the hands. Structure in behind where the 3/8 nutserts are to actually mount the doors. The top bar for the door, I just had to make time, and to be honest, I believe that if I would have tried putting bends in it, it just wouldn't have fit, because right along there, it follows that, there's a body line that it follows all the way back. And then the bottom bar on the tubular doors, it was very much a utility, I think utility is the way to say it. Because when you're sitting there, I didn't want to have to look down and look around a bar. I wanted it out, so where it kicks up, one, looks good, but two, you can actually have a clear line of sight right down to the outside of the tire, which turned out to be very beneficial, and it just flowed the way it flowed.
Yeah, I mean, the doors did help a lot with visibility. Like, once we got out on the trail, we had no issues seeing what was going on around the truck at any time. I mean, it's a little bit of distance to try and lean out, because, you know, the cab is a little bit wider than, say, a Jeep like you would normally have without doors on it. But, I mean, you've still got plenty of room. You can see front tire, rear tire. I mean, it's still a good probably 6 inches of tread that sticks out. So it's not like they're hard to spot.
Exactly.
But, you know, having that visibility when you're off-road, especially if you're getting into a tight trail or something with rocks you got to try and get up, I mean, visibility is king, and we had plenty of that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, last two. We're going to do it as a double question. What did you enjoy most about the build, and what was the most challenging part of the build?
I would say most challenging part, 100%, was the timeline. I mean, believe it or not, that whole truck was done start to finish in a month and a half. And that was from when it rolled in here as a stripped down version of Trailgater to what you guys saw at SEMA. That was a month and a half start to finish.
So the first part of that question, the hardest part for me was the sanding.
Yeah, my ears are still ringing from all the hammer and dolly work.
The hammer and dolly work for me was like, I loved it. I was just,
Of course you did, Mr. Earplugs.
Well, there's a bucket over there for you, you can put them into. But for me, it was the sanding. Like, there was a couple of nights here till midnight, and it's just like, there was several times where I stopped and was just like, like I just got so mad, because it was just the same thing hour after hour after hour. So that was the most challenging part of that. What was the second part of the question?
What was your favorite part?
Favorite part. I wouldn't say it's a favorite part of the build, but favorite part of the experience was getting buzzed by the fighter jets when we were paying it off at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
That's right.
That was awesome. They sat there and like they had finished all their chin wagon and one thing and the other, and I was doing an interview with, I forget who it was. But anyway, we're sitting there and you just hear that rumble, and Eric and I just kind of look at each other like, oh, we know what that is. And you see all the civilians just like, what's the noise? What's that noise? And then it came right above the paddock and just boom, punched it. It was fun.
Yeah, that was a nice morning.
Yeah.
I say favorite part, easily getting to take this thing out and actually drive it. I mean, that's the best part of just about any build, is when you get to actually get behind the wheel, you turn the key, hit the button, whatever it is you've got going on. You hear it start up, you know, you put it in gear, get out on the road, the trail, the track, wherever it is you're going. I mean, that to me is always the best part, because you're getting to realize, you know, all that work you did is coming to fruition, and as long as nothing breaks, you're having a good day.
Yeah. That thing, it performed the way we wanted it to perform, and especially like when we went out, I mean, it was a clear blue sky. It was nice and cool. Nobody was sweating to death. We had a good lunch on the trail. I cooked a bunch of burgers up for everybody. So it was a good day. It was a good day.
That's all I got.
That's all you
Go
got?
watch the episode if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Well, we got anything come in from the comments while we were standing here?
Yeah, that's
No?
all I got.
All right.
No? All right.